Hey everybody, it is Thursday, and why not wear bright yellow when the sun is shining, but yet it's only 40 degrees outside? Hi everybody, it's Allison Henderson, and I am here coming to you from Moving Image Consulting. Today's pop-up LinkedIn Live is all about this re-entry, this going back to work. I've been talking about it, but there are some things that are really starting to frustrate me. And I want to give you some tips to prevent some of the things that I'm seeing. I have been receiving calls from organizations wanting some help, some programming, some presentations on this idea of re-entry because people have gone back and they're realizing that going back as if it was 2020 doesn't work. And it's silly to think that it would work to just open the doors and put people back in their offices and go back to whatever that pre-pandemic was, because we have all changed. Every single one of us. There is nobody that was untouched by this occurrence. And if you aren't acknowledging that, if the leadership team isn't doing something to talk to their employees and to their team leaders and their managers about how they're seeing things that have changed or how the people have individually changed, we're really missing the mark. And obviously, I am more than happy to come in and do programming that talks about how to read the stress levels of your team, how to do this reentry, because right now, pre-pandemic was all hugs and handshakes and camaraderie, and now it's like, oh, I don't know, can I shake your hand? Should I shake your hand? Maybe just the fist bump. I don't know if you're comfortable with sitting this close to me, right? There's all this awkwardness that is going on, and I keep hearing that from everybody. But I want to veer a little bit to team management specifically, into those smaller meetings that you're having. Here are my 3 tips for making this newness or this re-entry into something that is going to propel your business and up level things rather than keep things stuck where they are. And if you have questions on this, if you have comments for things that you're doing in your own business, feel free to go ahead and put those things in the chat. Number 1, I want you to encourage and ask your team members to self-evaluate what they feel has changed. Now, this can be their personal, how they've changed personally. I would encourage everybody to get a little personal here, but how they've changed personally or how they have seen the business change as well, how they're feeling about re-entry. You need to be having these conversations. Give them an assignment to do that and create a safe space for sharing that information. And you may decide that that's more of a one-on-one, that you bring people into your office and you just check in with them. But I would also say that if there are things that would be better off shared once you find out what everybody is thinking, as a team, come back and make a report back. Okay, these are some things that seem to be unanimous about what you're seeing and how things have shifted. And let's talk about how we can do something about it, right? There may be a way to accommodate changes that people want. There may be some very simple things that you can do as a leader to make this transition easier, but you're not going to know this unless you talk to them. The other thing that's going to happen is you're going to see their authentic body language. Of course, I'm going to bring this back to body language. When you ask them to be personal or when you ask them to reflect, it is much easier to see their organic, natural body language than you would necessarily see if everybody's back in the conference room and they're kind of putting on their business personality or the kind of character or actor that they have made up while they're in the office. And when you ask them to be a little bit more personal, you're going to probably see more of their organic body language. And that's what we want to be encouraging, is everybody to be presenting true to you, right? The whole personalized one-on-one coaching program that I have is all about presenting true to you, no matter your situation, that you're still being true to yourself. So you can work together to make positive change. You're going to see their natural body language, which is going to clue you in to maybe some other things that are going on, or you're going to see their normal habit a little bit better. And that's going to help you as a leader, even if you don't know how to label it. I keep telling people that you don't have to necessarily be able to label what it is that you see, because your body is trained to take it in and evaluate it. And so you can kind of go with that gut of, this person is frustrated, this person is feeling stressed, this person is hiding some of their true self, which is wonderful and lovely. And I wonder why that is, because the person that I'm seeing now one-on-one is very different from who I see in a group. All of those sorts of things. And obviously, we cover all of this if you do my body language certification courses and things. So the second thing I encourage you to do is use music. There was a segment on the Today Show a couple days ago where they were talking about the brain fog that's been left over from the pandemic, and that it's a real thing because we were sedentary and we weren't moving, and that actually dulled the body brain connection, and the neural pathways weren't being created as much as they were when we were moving around and when we were interacting and intermingling with each other. And so that brain fog is real. And one way to alleviate that, the neuroscientist that they were interviewing was talking about music. And I was like, yes, absolutely, music. Music is a great way to get people into a better mood, to get them moving. And once they start their bodies moving, it's going to affect their brain. It's going to send those different hormones of happiness going. And so I encourage you as leaders to bring music into the beginning of your meetings, to play people out of the meeting with music, to encourage people to doo-wop down the halls, to maybe play music that they like in their offices or through headphones, and get those endorphins going, get the body moving and grooving. Encourage everybody to skip from meeting to meeting, whatever you have to do to bring in some lightness, some movement by itself will just go a long way, but it's going to enliven those synapses back in the brain, and the brain fog will help to be eliminated, and you'll be able to remember things better, and everybody will just feel better. So I encourage you to use music. Maybe ask your team members to provide the musical accompaniment for meetings. Pick a different person to bring in their favorite song, or to share musical things that you like, because that's another way into that individual as a person as well. What kind of music do they like? It might not be the same thing as you, but you'll learn a lot about a person by the music that they choose to brighten their day. The last tip is perhaps the hardest, because this is also a little bit generic, but I'm going to tell you and encourage you to take risks. Everybody out there, and I would love to hear from the people that are watching, because I see that we have folks watching live right now. Go ahead and put some things in the chat, either what you're seeing in your business that is different, how this transition back to the office is good or not so great, and maybe what your particular company is doing about it. But taking risks. That is the third thing, is as the leader, you have to be the one that is willing to jump off the diving board first, right? Which means you may need to take the risk to say, wow, this reentry is harder than I thought. Or what can we do to make this better than it was before? I know everybody doesn't necessarily want to be here. I know some of you prefer to work at home, and some of you are happier to be back in the office. let's see what we can do. Do you need to adjust the dress code a little bit? Maybe we could dress down a little bit more or ramp into corporate wear or something. There might be some simple things that you can do, but you as the leader need to take the risk to say what it is that you're seeing, to play that music and be the person that's bebopping in the meeting, to let somebody else take over the meeting. Figure out what little risks you can take, what things will supercharge you as a leader, and then it will filter down into your team, right? We always talk about top down, that if leadership isn't doing it, nobody else will. And remember the newsletter. If you haven't joined my LinkedIn newsletter, you certainly should, because I've kind of stopped or do very few through my other service anymore because I just run out of time. But my LinkedIn newsletter a few weeks ago, I turned the tables and I evaluated my own TED Talk, because I believe that I should never ask somebody else to do what I wouldn't do for myself. And I thought, wow, I keep assessing and evaluating other people, but I maybe haven't shown everyone how I evaluate and am critical of myself. And as a leader, that's what that risk is. And, oh, Kim, hi, Kim. I don't have my mouse right here because I'm standing. There we go. Kim says to lead by example, for sure. And that is so true. That is that part of that top down. If you can be the one that's jamming with music, if you can be the one that says, this is how I feel like I've changed during the pandemic, this is some self-evaluation that I'm doing. Maybe you need to add meditation into your toolkit with your teams. I mean, actually starting a meeting with everybody breathing together and taking a moment to synchronize your energies. Maybe that could be a shift, because a lot of people found things like meditation or prayer or alone time, the self time that they feel like they've lost because now they're commuting and they're getting dressed and they're doing all of those things. Maybe you could gift it back to them in some way. How can we create some of that same feeling in the office that we had at home? Okay, everybody, I'm going to get off my soapbox because, that's kind of what I do. I get on and then I talk, and I don't want this to go longer than 15 minutes for sure. But these are some great things that I really want you to take with you back into the office. Self-evaluation and sharing it. You don't just ask them to self-evaluate and then invite them to share what they want to share. Of course, there might be personal things that they don't want to share, but there may be some things that they've kind of secretly been wanting to share, but don't feel like there's been an avenue to do that. Secondly, you're going to tap into music and erase that brain fog and get those synapses going between the body and the brain, because you're going to move your body to the music, and that's going to help your brain. And then you're going to take risks. You as the leader are going to figure out some way that some little risks that you could do, or maybe big risks, maybe big leaps. Go to a 4-day work week. Do something big. Why not? Now is the time. If we go back, I don't know why more people don't seem to be seeing this or talking about it. If we try to go back to the way we were in 2020, we're missing the opportunity that the pandemic gave to us. The pandemic accelerated lots of things. It accelerated how we communicate. It accelerated pivoting in our businesses. It accelerated self-care for some, or the opposite, right? There's the 15 pounds that we gained during the pandemic. So there is so much that happened and was actually accelerated that we shouldn't just go back to the way we were, because we can't. And why don't we acknowledge that? And you as the leader can take the risk to just lay it out there, and your teams will thank you for it. Have a great day, everybody. There's more people watching now than were just a minute ago. So definitely go back and watch the replay. It will be on YouTube. It will be on Facebook. It will be on my LinkedIn posts and activities. Let me know what you thought. PM me if you think any of this should be brought into your business. If you need a cheerleader to come in and help with this change and to give you some really great body language tips and how to be engaging and how to re-enter and get over the awkwardness of re-entry, that's what I'm here for. So contact Moving Image, PM me, and we will get started. Have a great day, everybody.